Welcome to Atlanta where no, we're not going to be cliche like we have in the past. This is NASCAR, folks. In Atlanta, we burn rubber and run 3 wide in the 404. From the shores of where NASCAR began to the grit of NASCAR's hybrid oval. Daytona in the rear view, which means the 2026 season is officially underway. Welcome into a new season of Around the Track. Gabe McDonald alongside Casey Funderburg. And Casey, what a week we had down there in Daytona to kick off the year.
Oh my gosh, and we're still recovering from that week, but there's no rest for the weary. Atlanta is on deck, and we're getting you ready for all the action with a racing legend. Larry McReynolds is here standing by and ready to go, so we'll also check in with the O'Reilly series on the CW, as well as check in on some rumors about Dale Jr.'s racing future.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see him back in the Cup car. So how do you follow one heck of a season opener at Daytona? Well, you go to another drafting track, but you just make it shorter this time. EchoPark Speedway in the ATL is known for producing some tight pack racing, which means surviving the big one is still on the table. Now, we all know ATL traffic is terrible no matter what highway you're on, but some might argue it's tougher here. The baking here is no joke. 28 degrees has these drivers feeling some type of way in the turns, so keep those speeds up. There aren't as many grooves at this track for drivers to get into until they hit the last turn, and that's where we expect a ton of the action to be this weekend. Just ask the drivers. They're ready to put on a show in the ATL.
Atlanta does race totally separate than how, Daytona or Talladega do. Just the size of it, everything happens way faster for one, but then also just, your car's handling is a lot more important. Here we're wide open really, really easily. We're there, you're really fighting your car. So it's different. It's kind of a hybrid racetrack, but it's super intense for us.
It's a form of racing that, it takes a lot outside of your control in order to win these races, which I think it goes back to your question of what makes it so special, is that everything has to come together, and you have to be very fortunate. You have to have a great car. You have to have a great pit crew, great strategy. There's a lot more than just driving the car.
It is kind of an interesting start to the year, having a couple speedways back-to-back like this, but no complaints.
All right, Atlanta track trends have arrived, and if you're a Hendrick Motorsports car, you really like this place. 4 of the 8 races on the new version of Atlanta have been won by Mr. H's team. 2 for Chase, 2 for William Byron. They're good, but so is Team Penske. They've led more laps than anyone in the next-gen car on drafting tracks, nearly double, in fact. Over 1,400 laps. The next closest is Hendrick at 741, and we're going to talk more about this in a bit, but your pit crew better be elite. It takes an average of 39 seconds plus your pit time to get down pit road, the longest of any track in NASCAR. In 6 of the last 7 Cup races, the pass for the win has come in the last 2 laps, including last year where it came on turn 1 in the final lap. So this is a big moment for me because this is my first show with someone who's an absolute legend in the sport.
When you're a legend, that means you're getting old, I guess.
You were just getting old. You're the one getting better. We can't do the first episode of the year without America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds, back for another season of Around the Track. Larry, we'll talk Atlanta, but first, how was your Daytona experience, my friend?
It was great. We were just glad to finally get a Daytona 500 in without the weather interfering or having to postpone it to the next day. I know we started a little bit early, but across the board, from that first practice on Wednesday to the Daytona 500 on Sunday, it was a great 5 days down there.
Absolutely. Certainly a thrilling finish as well with Tyler Reddick coming out on top. And the ATL is somewhat ATL for the drivers when they hit EchoPark Speedway. We all know this 1.5-mile track. It really acts like a super speedway in disguise. What's the biggest challenges you see when the cars get going in Atlanta here?
Well, this will be the 5th year, Gabe, that we've been on this new configuration on this surface. It'll be the 9th race. And what I have seen, especially over the last couple of years, is it's becoming more of a handling track. Every time we go there, it seems like it's lost a little more grip. I know we group it with Daytona and Talladega. It's the same rules package as far as the horsepower and the spoiler, but I kind of look at it as a hybrid. I'm not going to link it with Charlotte, Texas, and Kansas, the other 1.5 miles. To me, it's a hybrid speedway. Yeah, we're going to see pack racing, we'll see drafting, but I guarantee you whoever wins this race on Sunday, he's going to talk about how good his race car handled.
Well, another one of those challenges, it's something you made a name analyzing, Larry. The pit stop. EchoPark has had so many quirks for such an intermediate track.
Yeah, the pit stops there, pit road, you talked about it, Casey. The entrance over in turn 3, it includes the apron in turns 3 and 4, and then down the pit road. Under green, which we don't have that many green flag pit stops there, you actually have a different pit road speed on the apron in 3 and 4. It's 90 miles per hour. Then you have to be to 45 on pit road. Over these 8 races that we've been there, this new configuration, we've had a combined 49 pit road speeding penalties. The pit boxes are very small. In fact, as far as length, it's the shortest on the circuit. So yeah, the racetrack's a challenge, but pit road is a challenge for the driver and the pit crews.
Always got to be on point, and it certainly will come down to that money stop there late in the race. And before we even drop a flag this weekend, there's one manufacturer who really has an edge. Ford dominates qualifying. They also dominate the laps led as well. It's pretty much science in this point. Ever since the track reconfiguration over the last several years, the Mustangs go fast with Team Penske leading the way 3 of those poles and no less than 7 cars in the top 10 leading the green. Larry, is there really something Ford is hiding from the rest of the field when it comes to going here?
Well, I think you said it, Gabe. They got speed.
Yeah.
That speed's good on Saturday, but sometimes that speed doesn't translate on Sunday, because I talked about handling. If you've got speed, that means the drag's low on the car. You maybe don't have enough downforce in it. Go back to last year, 9 of the top 10 qualifiers were Fords.
Yeah.
They had 1 Ford finish inside the top 10, and that was Ryan Blaney, who finished 4th. On the flip side, Toyota, their fastest qualifier was Bubba Wallace, who qualified 14th. Christopher Bell, who won the race, qualified 32nd. I think it's walking that tightrope. Do you want speed on Saturday, or do you want a good driving car on Sunday? If you can stay out front, the low drag will pay dividends on Sunday, but if you get back in the pack, and I think that's where the Fords lost control of this race a year ago, is when they got back in traffic.
Yeah, well, about 85 miles north of the track is the Dawsonville Pool Room. And if we're talking about that, we're talking about NASCAR's most popular driver. It is a home game for Chase Elliott, the driver of the number 9 for Hendrick Motorsports. Had an amazing day at the Daytona 500, and if it wasn't for 2 2311 drivers behind him, we'd probably be talking more about him right now. Chase has won here before, and how dangerous do you think he will be today, Larry?
I think he's going to be a contender on Sunday this weekend. You know, he's looking very racy right now. They've got this new Camaro ZL1 body that I think's looking really racy. It looked awfully good at Daytona. He came so close to winning the race, as you pointed out there. You mentioned Hendrick Motorsports, 4 wins there. 2 of them has come from Chase Elliott, including the last time we were there back in July. I would not bet against that 9 car. Home track or not, I still think he'll be a player on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see if we sound the siren this weekend out there in Dawsonville. He would love to get into victory lane for sure. We still got a lot more to come here on Around the Track because we got one moment from victory lane in Daytona that you haven't seen yet, and that's because our cameras were the only ones to catch it. How did Michael Jordan celebrate his Daytona win when he arrived to the scene? You're about to find that out coming up next.
Ryan Ellis' NASCAR journey has taken him from helping the drivers to being behind the wheel himself. After an impressive showing in Daytona, he's showing us it's not just a fluke. We go one-on-one with the O'Reilly Series upstart in just a bit. And want to see me hit a nerve? Hey, Larry, do you like super speedways right now?
I like super speedways when they're true super speedways like Daytona and Talladega.
Hey, a true NASCAR purist right there. And lucky for us, Larry Legend has a way to fix it. We got more Around the Track coming up next in just a little bit. Back here on Around the Track, and what a wild ride Daytona was. You knew fireworks were going to happen on the last lap, but we didn't expect multiple wrecks to allow a shootout between Tyler Reddick, Riley Herbst, and Chase Elliott. You already know the 45 ended up taking it with Michael Jordan partying all night with his team, but our cameras were rolling when MJ got to victory lane, where we got this candid moment between him and Denny Hamlin, where he answered if this is as good as winning an NBA title. Take a listen.
Made all the right moves, Riley.
It was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Did you get the cigar? Your mom is there.
Your mom did.
I did. Yeah, right on. I'm out. I gotta go. I'll see you next week.
Okay. All right. He's not taking it.
Okay. But I'll see you next week. Make a hole, guys. You gotta make
Mike, from WGN days back in the day, how are you? I haven't seen you in a long time.
What the hell?
I'm telling you, working. Hey, real
my
quick,
God.
the feeling.
Make a hole. I can't even express.
It's crazy, right?
Unbelievable.
NBA championships or this?
Nah, NBA champion. I have a little bit more to do in the NBA championship. Believe me. Here, I just got to rely upon everybody else.
Truly a great moment there as 2311 got the biggest win as an organization. Gabe McDonald, America's crew chief Larry McReynolds back with you. Larry, we have to backtrack to Daytona because there's a bit of an issue in the sport when it comes to super speedways, at least according to the maddening crowd in the garage and those on Twitter with the Twitter fingers. For those at home who don't know, it became a fuel mileage race, meaning they weren't going as fast as they could midway through the race. We saw multiple times the leaders only about 50% on the throttle to save gas. It's certainly a strategy for sure, but lots of guys want more speed at the bigger tracks. In fact, Denny Hamlin, who's won the big one 3 times, asked NASCAR to let the teams have more speed at the track every week. Some are at odds with the request, but Denny says he's got the fix that all teams would like.
We're going to have to increase the speeds by a lot. You're going to have to make it to where handling matters. That's going to spread the field. That's going to make it to where we're not, it'll look a little more like racing from the past. But as long as their insurance company's okay with it, you're going to have to speed up the cars. Because right now we're so planted in the racetrack that we can just run in this really tight pack. And one of the suggestions is, that we talked about just a few days ago is come here next year in the Clash. Let a few of us come up with a package that we think you won't see any fuel saving. You're just going to see people hanging on. That would be the only fix.
All right, Larry, the floor is yours. How do we fix it, if at all? Denny touched on, possibly going back there for the Clash, obviously making it more about handling. How do we fix this issue here in the sport?
Yeah, I sometimes wonder, can we ever get that toothpaste back in the tube? It's been going on for a number of years. It just seems like it's been more magnified with this Gen 7 car, Gabe. And, when you think about saving fuel, you think about trying to go further.
Sure.
Well, this is more about trying to shorten up that next trip to pit road, especially on the green. I somewhat agree with Denny. I think taking downforce away, making them drive a little worse, making it where everybody's not bunched back up, I think that could be a remedy, but you have to think about unintended consequences. When you take downforce away, that means you reduce the drag of the car. That means faster speeds. We can't get these things back up at that 200 miles per hour. We know what happens when they start getting that fast. They start flying in the air where they spin. One thing I have thought about, and I'm not sure we can completely rectify it with this, is do what we do at the Coke 600. Add a stage, add a fourth stage. I go back to the August race there last year that Ryan Blaney won. The way the cautions fell, there never was a lot of talk about fuel saving because you didn't have to worry about it. So maybe adding a stage. I like Denny's idea about let's go back down there with the Clash and let's just try something to see if we can make it work. But again, it's NASCAR, they're in a box right now because they have so many different things they have to look at before they can just make a change.
Yeah, certainly a lot of questions, and we'll see if we get an answer at some point. We got a lot more coming up, though, on Around the Track, including this sit-down interview.
I think one of the first things I said over the radio was like, you guys are going to learn really quick that I'm a crier. I teared up in the car, didn't cry.
Nothing wrong with showing a little emotion. Ryan Ellis had a goal coming into the 2026 season. One race in, and the upstart is already on track. More on the O2 is next in Garage Confidential. Plus, former O'Reilly Series champion Justin Allgaier had another decent showing driving Dale Jr.'s Cup car in the Great American Race. But if there's another Junior Motorsport entry in 2027, who's driving it? Dale Jr. himself? You won't believe who actually suggested it. I'll tell you who next, right here on Around the Track.
Back here on Around the Track, Carson Kvapil will have a chance at the O'Reilly Series Championship after all. The Junior Motorsports driver will also race 4 times this year for DGM, giving him a full-time schedule and allowing him to race for a title. NASCAR only lets those with a full schedule drive for the championship. Kvapil was in this past year's championship 4, but as you know, we're moving back to the chase format this season. Outside his JRM races, he'll pilot the 91 for DGM at COTA, Watkins Glen, Charlotte during Memorial Day weekend, and Sonoma. Well, a new team, new number, and a new perspective on racing, and that with a career best finish in Daytona. Ryan Ellis is off to a good start this season with Young's Motorsport in the O'Reilly Series. There's more to this former public relations turned driver, and he shared what's been working for him and his team in this week's Garage Confidential. Well, Ryan, you're coming off of your best career finish, and we talked during Media Day. I asked you, some things that you were looking forward to because you had your first top 10 last season, and you were like, well, I hope, with this new team, I can get 3 or 4 more top 10s, and you do it in your first race of the season. So how good did it feel when you got done on Saturday?
It felt really good. I think one of the first things I said over the radio was like, you guys are going to learn really quick that I'm a crier. I teared up in the car, didn't cry. We're on pace for 33 top 10s now, so we're on pace to make the playoffs, but I know we'll have some up and downs throughout the year, but just to start the year out, not only with a 6th place finish, but also in a good points position is awesome.
Yeah, and you're doing it with a new team. So you're already having to get acclimated to a new team, a new style. You talked about getting to do the sim a little bit more with this team. So what does that mean, just to see, okay, I think I made the right decision to make this transition? It
sounds silly, and I could be a meme here in a few weeks in the sense of like, we could have a bad couple of weeks, but it immediately is validation of that change. And top 10 runs are not easy to come by for small teams, especially 6th, which just felt like, I don't know, 3-4 inches short of a top 5. It's nothing to, I guess, just kind of look over. First time working with my crew chief Eddie, my spotter Frankie, and like we truly were just kind of learning each other throughout the race.
Talking about how you guys were able to learn how to communicate with each other. Obviously you're going, like you were saying, a track that's very similar. What are some other things that maybe you learned in this first race that you're like, okay, now I can work that out a little bit more this week?
Yeah, I think it's just building on the momentum that we started last weekend. I mean, a lot of teams went to the Rockingham test. We skipped that to prepare for this race. Being a smaller team, it helps. We never know what can happen in a race car. We could blow a right front and destroy that car and end up putting our guys way behind. So knowing we're a step ahead really helps. And I think Eddie's learning what I like in a race car. And I'm like, truly, it's like a translation thing where they learn how I emphasize certain words. And same thing with the spotter, my handling preferences. So I think there's a good amount of momentum we can carry, but it's going to be just a continual linear growth throughout the season, I think. And this is one of the first times or at least in a while, that you've been able just to focus on driving, right? It feels like in my life, yeah. Maybe since I was a kid. So it's a relief. I'd probably look stressed all the time, but I'm a lot less stressed than I used to be. That's a good thing, yeah. I think so, yeah. I got kids, they stress me out enough. Yeah, I was about to say, they can be the stressful thing, and this can be where you can kind of like... This can be my escape. Helmet on, squeezes all the brains out, and just go be a race car driver. Coming up this weekend, you just mentioned it, somewhat similar, but still a different track. So what are some things that you're just focusing on right now that you need to be prepared for come this weekend? Nothing yet. I mean, it really comes down to, I think, in other sports, I believe a lot in momentum. I think momentum can give you like a false sense of confidence in our sport. Just remembering what made us successful at Daytona, just going back to the foundation, knowing what works for our series, and as a small team collecting points is probably what I'll be doing the next 48 hours. Yeah, absolutely. Well, appreciate your time today, and good luck this weekend. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, we appreciate it, Ryan. We appreciate it, Young's Motorsport, for the time.
Absolutely. Well, we know anything backed by Dale Earnhardt Jr. isn't going to be considered a small team. Rather, in fact, the powerhouse franchise of the O'Reilly Series just had another great showing its annual step up to the Cup Series level. Justin Allgaier running up front in that 40 car for a large portion of the race. But guys, could Dale Jr. himself be in that car next year? On the Dale Jr. download, the Hall of Famer revealed that his wife Amy suggested that he take the entry in 2027. Mind you, he hasn't driven a Cup car since the championship race at Homestead, Miami in 2017. We actually just got an update. Dale just responded to Kenny Wallace saying he's never running Cup again. Larry, you know the man very well. Does the term never say never apply here? And if so, who would you like to see come out of retirement for a one-off maybe?
Well, I think I'd actually like to see my teammate with NASCAR on Fox, Kevin Harvick. He's only been out of a Cup car a little over 2 years. He's doing a lot of super late model racing right now with his son Keelan, very competitive. I know he didn't have the greatest year that last year in Cup, but I think Stewart-Haas Racing was on the downturn. I'd like to see old Happy Harvick. I think that'd make a lot of people happy to see him back in a race car.
Would be fun.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen you atop a pit box recently. Why not, guys? One last lap to take. But when we return, it's the first Victory Lane locks of 2026. Who does Larry have taking the crown in Atlanta? You'll find out. Plus, we've got a special guest for next week's show at COTA. All will be revealed next on Around the Track.
Let's go and get the odds for Sunday's Cup race in Atlanta. Before practice or qualifying, the bookie said, we don't really know. Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Chase Elliott all 10-1 off the bat. Then you have William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Austin Cindric next at 12-1. Your Daytona 500 champ, Tyler Reddick, fresh off that dub. He's at 16-1 to get it done. Now, if you're looking for some value dark horse picks, you got Chris Buescher and Bubba Wallace, who are 25-1. Ryan Preece, the winner of the Clash, is 35-1. Then you have to give SVG his props from last week, leading some laps there in Daytona. He was up front a bunch there. He is 65-1 to get it done in the ATL this weekend. Well, time to Victory Lane Locks. It's a portion of the show where we do the impossible. We pick the winner of the race. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. Larry, Who do you have taking the checkered flag in the ATL?
Well, his dad won there 5 times. Gordon Perkle, get the jumper cables out at the pool hall. The siren's going to sound on Sunday. Chase Elliott's going to get his 3rd win there in the Gen 7 car. First show, first Larry McNugget. Chase leads 18 more laps. That'll be 6,000 laps led in his career in the Cup Series.
Yeah, certainly a legend for sure. And just to see him get it done at his home track as well, just how would it be important for him to maintain that consistency like we saw him have last year?
We saw at the end of last year. We've already seen it this year in the couple of races, including the Clash. And we know this new Chase format, you're going to still have to win, but consistency is going to pay dividends, whether it's the regular season or whether it's those 10 races in the Chase.
See if Chase will make some strides in the Chase.
Well, I think after that finish last week, he wants a little revenge too, if I had to guess.
This would be by far the earliest he's ever won in a season, for sure.
We'll see if he can get it done. For Larry McReynolds and Casey Funderburg, I'm Gabe McDonald. Enjoy all the action at Atlanta this weekend. We'll see you next week when we preview the race in Texas at COTA.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.